So I do not know what's going on in the ATV. I just don't have the bandwidth. So, wishing them luck.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
Welcome back to the Body Serve. I'm Jonathan.
I'm James. It sounds like a children's TV host.
It was different. Mm-hmm. That's all we need to know. We are back in Toronto. We attended 3 days and 4 sessions of the United States Open 2025. We saw some good stuff.
Yeah, we saw a 45-year-old woman really take it to the number, I forgot her seed. 11. Play one of the sets of the tournament. That's second. Mm-hmm. Don't smile at me. Why are you smiling? Like I'm grasping at straws. Sometimes you're prone to hyperbole, but it really was great. It wasn't just
hyperbolic in saying that?
No.
You were there?
I was.
Okay. Before we get into the stories of what we saw, let's flag some of these men. Let's whack them around a little bit.
All right, so we arrived in New York on Saturday. Sunday is when play started, and Sunday night happened to turn on the TV and see Medvedev's, the very end of his match. On match point, a photographer had a total lapse in judgment and walked onto the court. Mm-hmm. They had to stop play, of course, call a let.
Very briefly, stopped play.
Umpire Greg Allensworth gave Bonzi a first serve because there was a brief stoppage in play. Medvedev took that opportunity to crash out. And I will ask you now, was it a crash out or was it a desperate attempt to change the momentum in a match he was surely about to lose?
The way you phrased it there and framed it says it all. He took the opportunity to crash out. One crashes out involuntarily.
And that's why I offered those as 2 separate possibilities. But it could also be a little of both.
No, it absolutely was not. Because Medvedev is known for this. His defenders were saying left, right, and center all over the place, well, this is what he does. This is what he's known for. He's orchestrated all these great comebacks by doing this. And the big tell as to why this wasn't a crash out is how it started. Before he even got to the chair umpire, he was already riling up the crowd. Mm-hmm. He was getting them to make noise before he even spoke to the umpire. That tells me that this was all by design.
Yeah, it was calculated. Mm-hmm. He was mad, but he wasn't out of control. He was actually very much in control.
Yeah, I mean, it was, to my mind, a marginal call. I've seen people call it a bad call. I've seen people say it was the right call, which tells me it was a marginal call. Could have gone either way.
I've seen, tennis experts kind of 50-50 on it.
You know, I wasn't going to go look up the letter of the law. I didn't think it mattered much to me to be able to talk about this situation. Mm-hmm. What I saw was a desperate dude who's coming off the worst stretch of play in his career for the last, 7 years or so? He's been a consistent top 10, top 5 player. This is a tournament that he's won before. And he's in the midst of an almighty slump for his standard. Right. And he's on the verge of crashing out of this tournament. And he sees an opportunity to pull a stunt. And he pulled a stunt. Meanwhile, his opponent, Benjamin Bonzi, who is on the cusp of having one of the biggest wins of his career. Mind you, he had just beaten Medvedev at Wimbledon. Wasn't that the case? Mm-hmm. A huge moment for Bonzi. He now has to regroup. Because there was, a 6-7 minute delay?
Yeah, it was a 6-minute delay. It started with Medvedev running to the chair, insulting him. One thing he does is very typical of him is he insults someone's manhood. Mm-hmm. Right?
Are you a man? Are you a man?
And we saw, of course, the little cat. Of course, he was calling the umpire a pussy. That's what he meant.
Are you a man?
You're always going after someone's masculinity, which in itself is not charming. It's not charismatic, despite the propaganda we've had to go through for many years that this man is just exceedingly charismatic. Then he yells into the courtside mic so the crowd can hear. He wants to go home. He doesn't get paid by the hour. He gets paid by the match.
Riley Opelka was right. Did you hear what Riley Opelka said?
No, we didn't. We do our best to avoid listening to Riley Opelka talk.
The moment he said, "Are you a man?" it was curtains for me.
Right. This was a situation that got out of control immediately, and the umpire is partly at fault for that. He had no control over the match after that point. But in a normal situation, if this isn't a match point, there's going to be a pretty severe penalty for behaving that way. Mm-hmm. Probably a point penalty. Then it would have been on match point. You know, we saw Serena wasn't technically defaulted from that match against Kim Clijsters at the US Open, but she was given a point penalty on match point.
What is the material difference between what Medvedev did and what Serena did in that match?
Well, Serena, they allege she made a threat toward a line judge. He insulted the judge. He called into question his credibility.
His manhood.
He also helped incite the crowd and delay the match for many minutes. Daniil would say that's not his fault.
He questioned the integrity of the umpire.
Right, which I've heard is pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Remember?
It's pretty bad, yeah. He questioned the integrity of the umpire to say, you don't want to be here. You just want to go home. You're making this call incorrectly, on purpose, so that we can all just leave. Mm-hmm. You're not doing your job properly. Mm-hmm. And so my point here is, so much of the enforcement of the rules of the code of conduct in tennis is arbitrary. It's up to interpretation. And time and again, this guy, he's able to stretch the boundaries of what is allowable because nobody will check him.
Right. And Ben Rothenberg even asked him, you've been so close to being defaulted many times. It almost seems like you're playing with the line, like you're doing it on purpose. You're daring them default me. And they don't. Of course, Daniil said he did nothing wrong in the match. The other thing is that at the US Open, this incites the lowest common denominator of the crowd. And so then they pan to the crowd. And it's a lot of young men. It's this sort of frat bro mob mentality.
Finance bros.
This is typical at the US Open. And it's a very ugly thing to be near in person. But even watching it on TV, I was so glad I wasn't there because the whole thing just pissed me off so much.
We'll get to when we were there to witness
it
in Felix's second round match.
Right. So as a fan, am I supposed to find this entertaining? Like, am I supposed to look at these 20-year-old scumbags in the crowd hooting and hollering on Bonzi's serves and say, wow, this is what tennis is all about. This is what tennis really needs to break through. Like, be serious.
And so we're left here moralizing again.
I guess.
For all the people who hate us moralizing, here we go. Bonzi tries to serve many, many, many times. Each time, the crowd keeps going again, making noise. At certain times, Medvedev is laughing, playing up to the crowd some more to make it carry on longer. The desired effect of this is to rattle Bonzi.
Of course, and it worked.
It worked. Bonzi was broken. Bonzi lost the third set. Bonzi got blown out in the fourth set. And as it turned out, Medvedev still lost. And so what happens here is you look all the more stupid and desperate. You're a pathetic man, is what you are.
The cameraman, or the photographer, for his part, it was such a strange situation. I've never seen anything like this happen. It was clearly a mistake. And then he just sort of hung around for a while. Then he disappeared. And then we found out his credential was revoked. And he was...
Perp walked.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Perp walked out of the grounds. And I'm so curious now, who did he work for? What the hell happened? I don't know what the rules are. It's probably not something he did on purpose, but is that typically grounds for getting your credential revoked? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, would it have been the same scale of reaction if Medvedev hadn't done that?
Right, if it just moved on.
If it hadn't caused a big international kerfuffle, If Medvedev just stayed at the baseline, allowed the match to play out, would this have escalated that much for the photographer? And I feel bad for him. He made a mistake.
Right.
I don't know what was going through his head. He probably thought the match was over. I don't know if he thought the match was over.
I don't know.
And I don't think he fully understood just how many eyes were on him. I thought he could go.
No.
He thought he could go back to doing what he was doing before and just, ooh, that's over.
Right.
Little did he know, Stacey Alistair is out here calling the feds on him. He made a mistake. Who hasn't? Who among us hasn't made a mistake that's not intended to cause harm to somebody? An honest mistake. Whereas Medvedev intended to cause harm to Bonzi. And now, as a byproduct, this photographer has to deal with this as well. And who cares? I don't hear anybody talking about this photographer.
Right.
Nobody cares. It's just part of the process of Medvedev.
And listen, Medvedev has won one match at a slam this year. He wasn't winning this one either. It wasn't the photographer's fault that he lost. But his intention was to humiliate Greg Allensworth and to mess with Bonzi's head. Mm-hmm. And he succeeded at both. And so there are some people who find it cute. I don't.
No.
Anyway, Stefanos is another one.
He won a match.
You know, I talked about the also rans. That was like one of the themes of our preview, because I didn't want to talk about Sinner and Alcaraz, because what could we possibly add at this moment?
You had to explain also rans
Yes.
to somebody in person this week, who then took up for me when I was asking you on a previous episode to explain, you know, the language that you use on the show, because it's not always accessible to everybody.
Sure.
The slang and whatnot.
And not everybody who listens speaks English as a first language as well.
So that was personally validating for me.
But that's why I make great effort to speak clearly. What?
What?
Well, in the edit, it comes out clear, I swear.
Yeah, but you can hear the words, but that don't mean people know what it is.
Anyway.
Okay.
The also rants, the other dudes. It's like the nominees for the Oscar who aren't going to win. And so I'm thinking of people like
Medvedev.
Rude, Runa, Medvedev, Tsitsipas, I already said Casper.
Yeah.
Even Jack Draper.
He is not an also ran at this point.
Well.
His body ran him over.
Yeah.
And he had to withdraw from this tournament, but that's unfair to Jack at this point.
But early on in this tournament, there was just a lot of pissy babies, right? Tsitsipas lost to Altmaier, I think yesterday, either yesterday or the day before. And at the net, he starts to lecture him about these underarm serves and how they were just not appropriate. And I'm saying, if I've just beaten you and then you want to corral me at the net to lecture me about something I did that is perfectly legal, listen, you got dog walked out of this tournament. You're going to get dog walked again if you don't get out of my face. Because I'll be nice the first time. But the second time, you're not going to like it.
You've been around how long? At your big age. Played all these matches. Been underarm served before. It's not the first time you're seeing it. You know it exists. You know the possibility exists for this to happen. You weren't up to the task.
Right.
At that moment, or in this tournament. You just weren't up to scratch. So you look small and, again, petty and stupid.
And you're also someone who escaped defaults by the skin of your teeth more than one time.
This was a theme of the first week. People bending their perception of the rules. Mm-hmm. Using their perception of the rules in bad faith to try and make themselves look better when they have A, either acted a fool, B, played terribly, and C, A plus B, you lost, and now you have to walk with your tail between your legs out this tournament.
That's actually the Pythagorean theorem. Tennis is a great sport if you want to leverage social mores in class against somebody when they actually didn't break the rules, right? When social rank and status became less of a barrier in tennis, then we saw other ways to gatekeep the sport. And one of those ways is to use class and behavior and etiquette as power. And so people who didn't possess that for many reasons, some structural, some personal, those people you are allowed to sort of, either keep out of the sport or shame them as they play it.
Or don't perform it in the way that is traditional, who are disruptors because of that fact.
And not all disruptors are valiant and virtuous. It's not not all change is positive. Tennis is just a sport kind of like cricket and those other sports that were used to colonize the world. They have a lot of built-in cultural etiquette that's kind of ancient in the world of sports. It's extremely old. And it is a way to dictate the behavior of people you probably didn't want in the sport in the first place.
But it's also a way to shame people.
Yes.
To take the attention away from you and your own poor performance and put it back onto that person who's beaten you and make it seem as if they don't belong. Which is what happened on Court 11 with Yelena Ostapenko and Taylor Townsend.
Yeah. Do you want to go there yet? I feel like this has been a lot of, let's do something positive to break up the tone a bit.
I get your impulse to not be hammering people with the negativity at the start of the show, but we were there. And this is kind of our milieu, so...
Okay. So...
And my transition was kind of perfect.
I agree. We're going to tell some stories from being on the grounds. This one is topical to what we have been talking about. Jonathan, you were at... court, whatever. I can never remember the court. 11 for Ostapenko Townsend. And you had the brain power to film the entire handshake and then what happened after. Luckily, you did not stop the video.
It was so fortunate. I was so fortunate to even be on that court to begin with, because Townsend and Ostapenko were scheduled on court 11 to play after Marcos Giron and Benjamin Bonzi, he who came back against Medvedev to win in 5 sets. Marcos was up 2-0, so you're playing this game, right? Because this is a big ticket match. If you know, you know, and those stands were full to the brim.
Of gays.
And black people.
And American, yeah.
And so the longer that match goes on, I'm trying to pick my spot as to when to try and get on the court. I'm there at the end of the 3rd set. I'm there at the end of the 4th set. It's like, okay, let me try toward the end of the 5th set and see what happens. I end up joining this long queue. I say queue now because I've been to Wimbledon. I ended up joining this long queue, one of 4 entry points to that court. They were all equally long. But people weren't leaving that court.
Yeah.
They were not. They had their spots. And it was a moment of having to kind of squish beside somebody. Like, excuse me, sorry, do you mind if I...
Yeah.
And so I get there and I watch the whole thing. And then I look up and I see all these people watching from this vantage point at the very top of court 11. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I actually would really prefer to stand and watch this match. I prefer that personally, which is why I like to walk in between, say, a court 11 and court 12 at the US Open or these smaller courts at tournaments. I can move around. Sitting is like very uncomfortable for me at these tournaments in my dotage. The match is about to end. The final changeover, I get up, I go to the top, and I get the phone out. I'm, filming the handshake, and I thought that was going to be it. I'm looking at the phone, and I see this starting to pop off. And I'm like, oh, what? And I'm starting to panic. I'm like, I hope I'm doing this right. Because I've messed up many important things that have to be videoed in the past by not even pressing play.
Like, we're not a video format.
No.
Right? We try our best. But
And so I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so great for Instagram. I hope I don't mess this up. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. So, we got it. The Body Surf got that video. A primary source.
Right. You were there. Unfortunately, I was too lazy to stand in line. I was somewhere else.
You were with your boo. You were very on brand.
I was watching Davidovich Fokina lose.
Yeah. What had happened, James? Tell us.
Well, I mean, I wasn't there, but...
You've seen the videos.
Sure. Taylor Townsend immediately goes down love 3 in the first set. Ostapenko is redlining. And then Taylor manages to win 7-5, 6-1. Now, after the match, there's this conversation that, I don't know, the whole handshake to conversation lasted about 90 seconds. There were boos raining down on Ostapenko, which, love it. Love that for us. But I also wish it had been pin drop silence so we could hear what was being said.
We ended up being able to hear what was being said.
After the match, Taylor was asked, what did she say? And she said, well, she told me I have no class, I have no education, and to see what happens when we get outside the U.S. All the hits.
Mind you,
First of all, what does that mean?
Mind
What
you.
what are you gonna do when we're out of the U.S.?
this was not a close match.
No.
Taylor Townsend blew Ostapenko off that court. What? I mean, she just wiped her ass on that court.
BTA, as her Instagram post said.
Exactly. Beat that ass. Ostapenko started fast. I remember skeeting after the first changeover. Ostapenko was up 3-love and is like, wow, Yelena's on one right now because
Like,
she's not missing.
Please, no bagel.
I had a direct view of Taylor on that baseline as balls were flying right by her. And Taylor was laughing at one point because it was just ridiculous. And she even described it afterward as saying, well, you know, the way she started so fast, she's the type of player that maybe this is just the type of day she's having. There's nothing I can do.
Right. And she even said, and if she beats me because she was that good, that's fine.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
So all she tried to do was to put herself in position to try and stem the tide. To find a moment. And she did. And that pissed Yelena off.
Yes.
What also pissed Yelena off is that Taylor had a net cord go in her favor, and she didn't say sorry. She didn't say sorry. And apparently that was the biggest crime one could have committed.
Now, we're expected to believe that Yelena harbored this resentment for the whole match, and this ate her up. My view is that this was something that she latched onto because she was pissed off because she lost.
Which we've seen before.
Right. So you say, oh, you did this thing in the second set or whatever, and I'm still mad about it, and you should apologize. Let's tackle the no education thing first. I know a lot of people have talked about this in many European languages. Actually, not only European languages, but maleducato, or like when you say someone has no education, you actually mean they have no manners, they're rude, they're boorish. It doesn't usually mean that like they're uneducated, you know?
Which is what Yelena came out today and in her typical font wrote on Instagram.
Same font.
Same font.
Cursive Instagram story.
Yeah. The fourth or fifth post that she's posted about this finally got to something substantial.
An apology, which is very unusual for her.
Yeah.
But it was sandwiched in between SpawnCon stories. Like,
For the
thank you
hotel.
for the hotel I stayed at. Also, sorry, I'm not a racist. Okay. Taylor Townsend is going to have so much pressure after this match, right? To rise above it. Because what are the headlines going to be if Taylor Townsend is asked, do you think what she did was racist? Do you think it displayed bias? And she says, yes. What happens? Taylor becomes the woman who called someone a racist. She becomes a story. She will never get away from it. And so the pressure on her to rise above is immense. The pressure on me to rise above does not exist. So I won't.
Well, the pressure is also even more on Taylor because Yelena booked it out of there. I'm told that nobody requested her in press.
Which is insane.
Or maybe she asked if she was being requested so quickly that nobody...
Right. There was no chance.
There was no chance. I don't know, but it wasn't a case of Serena booking it through the Miami parking lot and getting in the SUV
Right.
and storming off. But what was left then was a huge story because whenever these Black American women in tennis achieve anything of note, they move beyond tennis immediately.
Yep.
In the cultural sphere. So somebody's going to have to answer for this. And Taylor being the one who won this match, she's now bearing the brunt of the added scrutiny of how is she going to handle this. And if you haven't, you should watch that press conference because it was, quite frankly, a masterclass.
She is a grown woman. She handled every question in such a mature and intelligent way. I mean, because there are so many traps. If you're a Black woman and you've just experienced that situation, there are so many traps laid for you. She said, we don't have any beef that I know of. Right? There's no beef on my side. But she's packed up and gone. I'm still here. And this is what's important to me. My son is important. My tennis career is important. I want to be excellent. And I'm still here.
Meanwhile,
I know, right?
she's not. She's packed up and she's gone.
She's on a plane. Or no, she still has doubles to play, which she also lost.
Yeah.
I will say, so the way that Taylor handled the situation in the moment was incredible. I've never seen the like.
She listened to Yelena She wanted to get to the bottom of it. And when it became clear that Ostapenko was not coming at her in good faith, then she turned into that kind of maniacal laughter, kill him with kindness, hit them over the head with something that's going to floor them. And Yelena's face, she was almost laughing at the end of it. Because Taylor's like, you need to learn how to take a loss better. Great job. Great play. Thank you.
Yelena was gagged. She was like, like,
and then she kind of smiled.
Kind of laughing.
And then she booked it out of there. And the way that court is set up, she had to leave in the pathway between courts 11 and 12 in a sea of people who are all booing her. You know, it was spectacular stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I believe Yelena when she says that this is what she meant by uneducated.
Yeah. What did she mean by no class?
Right. I'm going to say further, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care whether she's sitting here telling me I'm not a racist. We all have unconscious bias. Mm-hmm. We all do. I do. You do. Everybody else does. So to come and immediately say I'm not a racist, that's a non-starter. Your intent does not matter.
But you've already lost if you're in a position where you have to say, I'm not a racist. And there are every time something like this happens, especially on American soil, you get a lot of Europeans saying Americans are so obsessed with race. Everything is about race. And first of all, we don't have diversity here, and it's not the same. And I understand that. Latvia, not a huge black population, I'm thinking. But anti-black racism is something that is nearly universal. We're talking about Yelena as if she just stepped out of the village.
Do you
know what I mean?
Like she just stepped out of the womb.
I mean, it's like she emerged from an Eastern European village and has never seen black people before. That's the way they were talking about her. She's a grown woman in her late 20s who has traveled all over the world, more well-traveled than any of us. At some point, you have to be held responsible for your actions. So me, as a white person, I'm not the arbiter of that's racist, you're racist. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that how are you so incredibly unaware of your surroundings to tell a black woman, or anyone for that matter, you have no class, no manners, and catch me outside the U.S. next time? What the fuck does that mean?
Taylor was like, I did catch you outside the U.S. In Canada, and
won.
I beat you there as well. The context here is this is happening in New York City. This is happening at a court where there is far more black people than you'd ever expect to see at a tennis match. Because they're there, why? Specifically to support Taylor Townsend. Like, this is a woman of the culture, for the culture. And so you do this in front of all these aunties?
How do you think that's going to go?
Exactly.
And you don't even have to know what an auntie is. You don't have to know the whole history. But for somebody who behaves so recklessly, so often, this is going to bite you in the ass at some point. And you picked the wrong one on the right day.
I've seen so many people say, so many black women say on the internet, she's done this once too many, and somebody's going to clock her one day.
Right.
Like, you put your finger in Taylor Townsend's face after she did nothing to you, except whoop your ass. Like, you are salty and bitter that you lost. That's it, period. You think you're better than her, that you shouldn't be losing this match. And you've decided to do this because of that? Grow up. It's embarrassing. Just like Medvedev, it's embarrassing. Now, the day after, somebody got video of the moment where the net court happened. And they were saying, you can look on Taylor's face, and she was gonna apologize, do the cursory, oh, sorry, thing, but she saw Yelena standing here with that stank attitude, and she was like, you know what, I'm good.
No.
And that's exactly what happened.
Right.
You can watch that video, and you see all that process. You see Taylor going through all those thoughts in 2 seconds in that video.
No, Yelena said she's never experienced that before in her life. I know for a fact you've played Venus Williams, so Maury, that was a lie. Venus has never apologized for a net court. That's just her thing. I'm really, really tired of people feeling like they can talk to and about black women in any type of way. And that's part of what's going on here is why people are so upset. Because, we saw the way that people spoke about Naomi recently. I don't know if Sam Querrey has covered the bad behavior of the men this week, but he had a lot to say about Naomi and that trophy presentation. I am just so tired of people seeing black women and saying, well, I can talk to you however I want. And if you clock me, I'm going to bitch and cry about how I'm not racist. Okay.
It does not matter. It does not matter.
Right.
When will people get this through their heads? Nobody's out here actively saying, I'm going to walk out my front door and enact just a spree of racism on people today.
Right.
That's not how unconscious bias works.
It's like, oh, maybe you acted out of pocket, and part of that thought process for you was, oh, it's just Taylor, whatever.
Was it all just for show? All those purchases of white fragility in 2020?
It was.
It was all for
Jonathan,
show.
Yes. Now, to be fair, I don't believe that Yelena bought the book White Fragility. She did buy some bundles and got them installed several times. I've heard her edges are still hurting.
No, that was a mess.
Okay, I guess enough about this. I am grateful that you got to be there for that, and I am doubly grateful that Taylor Townsend is letting the racket talk, beating the number 5 seed Andreeva in the next match, still alive in singles and doubles.
She's never played better.
No.
Never.
Her game is much more complete than it used to be. She can still serve and volley, but she can rally with the bigger players now, which is a
ground
difference.
game is night and day to what it was 6 years ago when she made the 4th round at the US Open the last time.
Mm-hmm.
You're desperate to lift the tenor of this episode, to lift the mood, to do something more lighthearted right now. So let's talk about some of the other stories from the grounds that we saw.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to get tickets to the night session on Monday when we found out that Venus Williams would be playing Karolina Muchova and Carlos would be playing Opelka. And then we found out that Carlos would be debuting his new haircut. Let's start here. I think this incident showed me that Carlos is a true diva, right? Something he does, like a haircut, is covered like it's international news. This is a star. And it's different in the way that they cover winning a match. This was covered in a way like Serena Williams debuting a new outfit. It was huge.
But stars and divas give looks.
It is a look. You cannot, accidental or not, it is a look.
They serve good looks. Carlos has created this fever around his hair. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In part because it often doesn't look good. If we're being honest.
Right.
And he's enlisted this Victor Barber, who has become a celebrity in his own right, because he gets flown in to deliver these terrible cuts time and time again.
He gets flued out. I love Carlos's loyalty. Like, it's such an endearing quality about him. His localness.
Yeah. Very similar to Rafa in that regard.
Yeah.
Now, when this happened, Carlos had hair one afternoon, and then shortly thereafter, he had no hair. Mm-hmm. People were like, Victor Barber has struck again. Including us.
Like, when will the evil stop? And this was a very close buzz cut. Now, at first, we all clowned it. I clowned it as well. And I said, please, I do reserve the right to change my mind at some point.
Because I expect him to be there for the majority of the 2 weeks. And by week 2, it's going to look a lot better.
Right. I have to confess, I am starting to see the vision.
Oh.
I am weak. I am imperfect, like every person. And
you can hardly speak. You lose all control. And something takes over you.
Wait, what is that?
I get so weak in the knees.
One of my favorite songs ever. I'm starting to see it. I mean, Carlos is he's a hot boy, right? So most haircuts are going to be fine.
Except they haven't been. I don't understand this narrative.
But this was a haircut you couldn't mess up, right? It was just a buzz cut. So there's nothing there.
So what happened was his older brother used the wrong clipper level.
Yeah.
And took something off that shouldn't have been taken off, was deemed to be an irreparable fix. And so everything just had to go.
given his previous haircuts, what could have been so catastrophic that it required a total buzz cut? Because we've seen some bad ones, right? We've seen some botched fades rolled out in public as if they were nice haircuts. I will say, no shade to Spain or the Spanish people, and this is a generalization, but when I was studying abroad in Italy years ago, you could always spot a Spanish man because in those days, the haircuts were genuinely insane. And you always knew.
And now these days, you can almost always tell a British young man, because they all have the same terrible haircut.
Yes, and an Australian. You know, I feel like Australian men don't get enough credit for really going all in on the mullet for many, many years. And now the kids in North America are into mullets all of a sudden.
It is.
But the Australians were holding it down.
It is truly wild that I've lived long enough to see the things that I grew up wearing and thinking of as, the day, being weaponized against me.
Right, now you're not cool because you're not wearing your literal jeans from 2001.
Right?
Anyway, the hair came and went. People are used to it now. He looks hot, I'm sorry. It's still kind of an ugly haircut, but I'm starting to see it.
What you're telling me is that you just find Carlos hot. And so he has a wide berth with errors.
I guess so.
Aesthetically.
Right.
Clocked it.
Fine. Anyway, we were there, really, for Venus Williams. I was wondering if they do the whole Monday night thing, right? You remember they used to do the massive flag and all that. Diana Ross used to come. They used to have big singers. Ben Platt notwithstanding. This year, in between the two matches, it was another kind of tribute to the International Tennis Hall of Fame inductees, who were the Bryan brothers and Maria Sharapova. Kim Clijsters did the ceremony. Love her down. Like, she's one of my OG faves. Absolutely love her. Legend. So it was very cool to see her. She's currently the president or CEO, one of those, of the Hall of Fame. And she introduced the Bryans and Maria. Kind of starstruck seeing Maria Sharapova out there just as a retired player. It was really cool to see her.
I had left at that point.
Yeah, I was are you coming back? There's a thing here.
We had just sat through Venus, 3 sets. That's 2 sets more than I'm normally able to sit through. And so I needed to walk around. I was with a friend as well. And so I went to go look at other things. The beauty of having 2 of us on site is that if one of us is covering it, then one of us is covering it. It'll be covered.
Totally. Yeah. And you can't experience everything. You really can't. There's so many simultaneous things going on. But for Venus, we're seated. The party of 4 was seated. As the OG Venus fan, you tell me just your memories from the match.
I had no expectations. I expected Karolina Muchova to win this match. I expected her to win it in straight sets. The last time I saw Venus play live was Miami 2024. It was not good. I believe she lost 6-3, 6-3 to Deanna Schneider. And the scoreline was tighter than that match actually was.
Oh.
And so by mid-second set, I actually left. Because where it was headed, I didn't want any part of it. So I actually went and sat outside the stadium and listened to the end of the match.
Cried for a while.
Did not, but, I reflected a bit.
Yeah.
This match, we're all there, and as has been the case recently, she gets off to a slow start. That's been the case, especially when she's serving first in singles. Almost always broken, often broken at love. This happened again. She sprays balls. She was down love 2 in a nanosecond, it felt like. But then she found her range. At one point, she had break point to go up 4-2 in that first set. And given that she won the second set 6-2, this could have been a straight sets match. Instead, Karolina Muchova is into the 4th round, a stone's throw from a 3rd consecutive US Open semifinal. But Venus Williams, 45 years old, in the first round, had her by the neck in the second set. That was some of the best tennis I've seen from Venus in 8 years? Since 2017? It was incredible. How did she not look slow?
I was not expecting the consistency off the ground. I thought that would have been a challenge. The depth. And then some of kind of vintage Venus, right? These swinging volleys that I don't know, feel very of that time. Those late 90s women who kind of introduced the style.
She hit the fastest forehand I've ever seen her hit in her life in that match.
Oh my God.
It set the place on fire.
Yeah. The ones who were paying attention. Which was about like 10%, I'd say.
Get to the third set. Venus isn't playing badly. It's just that Carolina really upped her level in that third set.
And Carolina should be winning this easily, right?
She upped her level. Venus didn't embarrass herself in the third set. It went as it should have. However, that level that Venus showed told me that she could probably beat a plurality of the top 100 fairly easily playing that level. The one real weakness she had in that match was a second serve.
Mm-hmm. Which, for a long time, that's been a weakness.
After the match in press, she was giving what needed to be gave. She was very upbeat. Then she was asked something along the lines of what does this mean to her, what she can take from it. And she started getting into this description of what it's been like for her to play tennis the last 8 years or so, right? And what it's like to be playing freer. She was already getting emotional, but when she said freer, that's when she had to stop. And then the moderator said, okay, that's enough. And then she was on her way. But wrapped up in that is the fact that she had so much of her career stolen from her. And I think that's what she was coming to terms with emotionally in that moment. Realizing, I mean, she lives it, so I'm sure she realizes it, but thinking of it in that moment, just how much of her career was taken from her. Be it from Sjogren's or the last 8 years of her dealing with fibroids. If Venus Williams at 45 years old can play like this, being free, whatever that means for her, what could she have done at 38, 39, 40, 41, 42? She was going to be here. She wanted to be here. She still wants to be here. And to be here now at 45 playing like this, knowing what she wasn't able to do for the last 8 years, for me, that's where that emotion came from. Putting a finger on the pulse of just how much she's lost.
What I left on the table.
Yeah.
But it was out of my control.
Yeah.
Venus's doubles pairing with Leylah Fernandez is so much fun. Watched their match today. Won it now into, the round of 16 in women's doubles?
Yep. Lurking, as much as the number one seeds can lurk, lurking in the quarterfinals for Venus and Leylah is the pairing of Taylor Townsend and Katerina Siniakova. Venus and Leylah already took out the number 6 seeds in the first round, and then today they beat a pair of tennis players. Could not tell you their names right now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Didn't have it written down on the recall.
Them. I carry from Norway.
Uh-huh.
And I forgot her name.
Yeah. We can't be on top of everything.
Right. Neither can the US Open. Because, okay, Giri Nathan wrote something recently about the murmur, as he called it, in Arthur Ashe Stadium. The night sessions at the US Open, I think we all know, and you can tell on TV, but not quite. You can't tell the extent of the ambient noise on TV. And especially if you're up in the 300s like us, because that's what most people can barely afford.
Yeah, I will never be able to afford a 100-level ticket at the US Open ever again.
It's getting worse and worse and worse as far as affordability. Outrageous.
Tickets are now being resold for tomorrow, Sunday, for well over $400 as the cheapest ticket.
$400.
Monday, $500. I've never seen it this bad.
It's insane. So, sitting up in the 300s during Venus's match, this is a legend of the sport. She's American. I would estimate that maybe 15% of the people were aware that a tennis match was being played. I mean, the level of disengagement is shocking. Like, it's incredible. Nobody is there to watch the tennis. Maybe further down where the rich people sit. I have no idea.
No, I'm told that those are all...
That's even worse?
That's all corporate stuff where you're taking somebody out to have a night out, a network kind of thing.
Okay.
But I think you had a really bad experience based off of who was directly around you.
Sure.
These
These people talked. It wasn't a murmur, right? It was full voice conversations the entire time. They, I think, maybe took one selfie of the court to prove that they were there. You got people answering FaceTimes and having entire conversations. Oh, look, that's Venus down there. Shut the fuck up. Respectfully. Yeah, I mean, that's just what the U.S. Open is, and you have to accept it. What I was, I guess, confused about is, are there ushers? This is different at every court, at every year. On Arthur Ashe Stadium, there is nobody.
Not in the 300
No,
level,
like,
no.
But
It's the Wild Wild West up there.
it
That
really
was
is. You could literally you could take a shit on the aisle and nobody would notice.
Oh,
No, seriously.
that was the example.
I know.
you
I don't know
used.
why that was the example.
The ushers are there in the 100 level, but in the 300 level, they've decided that it's just do what you want. You can walk around wherever. You
At
can
any
enter
moment.
whenever. And so I implore anybody who is going to the US Open for the first time, pay special attention. If you are planning on being in Ashe 300 level at any moment, know where the entry points are. Because if you're sitting near an entry point, you will barely be able to see any tennis.
Yeah, because people will be walking in front of you.
Non-stop stream. What day session were we there trying to watch? It was Iga?
Yeah, it was Iga Sinner that day.
Yeah. Iga blew through Suzanne Lemons, I think it was.
No, it was the match before that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it was like 30 minutes in and out. Iga had a quick day at the office. Saw barely any of it. Because we were, I think, row C or something very close to the front of the 300 level. And stupid me, I bought the tickets. It was right where people enter. And it just,
Well,
you
but
couldn't see
also
anything.
the glass barrier obstructs the court completely.
Yeah.
And actually, it doesn't even get better until you go up like 6 rows. Because
Yeah.
I experimented.
Yeah.
You know, where would I buy next time? And yeah, I would say closer in the 300s is not actually better because there are
It's
a lot
not.
of obstructions.
Yeah.
On the outside courts, I was sort of confused because, so I've been to the US Open twice now. Once was 2 years ago. And on a lot of the outside courts, we had very militant ushers. You know, it was giving TSA, right? They were yelling at you. It was very strict. But this year I felt like, do they just not have volunteers or something? They don't have enough people. On some courts, there was literally no staff. And there were no rules about when you're allowed to move and everything. And on some courts, it was extremely strict. And there didn't really seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason to it. It was very confusing for me because I genuinely forgot, like, what are the rules? It was weird.
At this point, you can enter in between games. It's not a changeover thing anymore. For a lot of them.
But on some courts, you couldn't.
On some, yes.
And then on some courts, it was like it was regardless of the player's sight lines, even if they can see you while you're serving, they don't care if you're moving. Like, I don't know what the rule is. What if a fan had a medical emergency? Sometimes there's no one to call. You know?
I think that's an exaggeration.
I don't think so. In the 300s, girl, good luck. You're not making it.
I
They
don't.
might crowd surf you down.
I feel like you have higher expectations of the experience. You're
Maybe I was just, I don't know, maybe I was just like more peeved than normal because I knew what to expect.
You are wont to be peeved.
I know. And I knew what to
It
expect
is one of
because
your
I've been there.
main qualities.
I think just because it was Venus. You know, it's Venus. Like show a little respect.
No,
you can still talk, but
I'm going to put you on the spot here. You struggle with locking in and drowning out other things.
yeah.
In that moment, I was fully locked in on Venus. I was having a great time. I had no problems.
okay.
Similarly, when I was locked in at Mariah's Christmas concert and she was about to
You
sing
don't need to tell this again.
Miss You Most at Christmas Time, which I'd never heard her sing live before,
With her daughter.
and you should have known Monroe was not singing on that song.
Oh, but it was during that I got mad.
Okay.
Whatever song that was.
So I hear the music start to play and I'm getting really excited. And there you are sat beside me ready to throw fisticuffs. When you should know
Just
that
verbal, just verbal one.
this is a massive moment. But I saw what was going on.
Well, that's why I was mad, because it was a big moment.
Right, but I saw what was going on and I was still locked into what needed to be locked into.
Fine.
You can't do that. It's
How
not
could
a
you
skill
lucky
that
you
you
couldn't
have.
even hear anything? They were so loud.
You focus.
Okay.
You become aware that there are certain things. Have you ever...
I'm glad that you can do that. I can't do that.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Your overall point is that it's a lot more chaotic this time around than it was for you the last time.
Yeah, but in a much less charming way than it was the first time. And maybe that was just because it was my first time. Mm-hmm. You know, this time it was like, well, I think because growing up, I assumed like this was something I wouldn't ever get to do, right? It just seemed so inaccessible. It seemed so expensive. And now we have this incredible privilege that I'm so grateful for, to be able to go to these tournaments. It's just like, I can't accept that other people view it as a throwaway, you know, because it's such a big deal. It costs a lot of money. I don't know. And that's none of my business, right? Like, that shouldn't bother me. But if you are impeding on my experience, that's when it bothers me.
Well, the whole thing is gross. There's so many people with the means to not even care about the cost, to just be there for a moment.
But if you want to go for a key, hang out at the bar. And that's cool. I don't care. Don't hang out in your seat and disrupt everybody.
A tournament on this scale, it's gonna attract a certain crowd.
Right. I mean, the US Open has been showing these Instagram posts of, look at all the stars here today. I don't know who any of these people are. I see influencer, Candace Parker, the GOAT of gymnastics, Simone Biles, influencer, nobody. Who are these people? Where is Gladys Knight?
We were, if you listen to her son, being held captive and forced to tour.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
We were in grandstand, and this woman decided to have a 10-minute conversation in the middle of the aisle.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. There is nobody. There's no staff.
And so you think, okay, she'll be done in a minute. No, she doesn't. She's not. She continues to have the conversation. People are trying to get in and out and walk by her. She doesn't care. They have to be doing gymnastics to get around her. There are seats open beside the woman that she's talking to. They're not assigned seats.
Like a dozen, probably.
It's first come, first serve. You sit wherever. But she'd rather stand in the middle of the aisle and block people from freely walking in and out, and also block people's viewpoint of the tennis. Mm-hmm. And then her solution after that was to sit in the aisle. She sat in the aisle.
I know. I just know that she went home and laid on her bed in her dirty outside clothes. I know she did.
I mean, it
because
truly,
she was, you know,
it truly was one of the wildest things I've seen at a tennis tournament.
That one actually didn't bug me as much because it wasn't blocking my view. I was just sort of, I was more amused, like, wow, these people are not from New York, because everybody was being so nice and walking around her and giving her a berth. Like, damn, these people are from the Midwest.
Speaking of bad behavior at a tennis tournament, I was at Felix Billy Fisher. Is that his name? Billy Porter?
Wow. Billy Harris.
Billy Harris. Felix was playing Billy Harris. I'd heard the name before, never seen him play. And I can guarantee you that the majority of the people in that Court 17 stadium did not know who Billy Harris was.
Right.
Felix has name recognition. The majority of the people there were there to support Felix. Except for these 3 or 4 white young men who got their prime seat and never left, and the entire time screamed, scrumped, let's go, Billy, let's go. And that was the least of it. It was Billy all day, all the time. And if you've attended tennis matches, you know when something isn't sincere, when it's not authentic. Mm-hmm. You saw the way they were behaving. They thought it was a joke. They thought it was hilarious. And it read to me as racist.
Well, you know, you said it. I was queuing to get in, and I could hear them, and my mom was like, oh my God, let's not sit near them. And the atmosphere in the stadium was not raucous, aside from them.
You ended up sitting quite near them.
Well, had no it was like the only place. And so the atmosphere wasn't raucous aside from those guys, which turned out to be like 4 in total. The tell, though, is that Billy Harris is not acknowledging them at all. and at some points was kind of looking at them like, what is going, like, who are these guys? These are clearly, they're not people he knows. They're not actual fans. And after I was there for a few minutes, I was like, oh, I know what you are. Mm-hmm. This is very clear. And you're facing a Canadian, a mixed race, black Canadian, no less. This feels gross. Something about this stinks because it is so pointed. It's so incessant. And it's very clear you don't care about Billy. You don't know who Billy is, right? He's ranked 150 something in the world. He doesn't know you. He doesn't want to be associated with you very clearly. And so Felix is just putting his head down as he does and getting through this match. He's not a very demonstrative guy, and apparently his fans are not either, right? They're Canadian. They're very polite. It's not a hockey crowd. So at the end of the match, Felix does win, and he roars, he looks straight at those guys and fist pumps, and it's like very pointed.
A baby lion moment.
Right. It's cute. It's a kiki. Love Felix. But for him...
Do you?
I do,
You've spent the majority of 2025 or 11th season saying not so very nice things.
Questioning his form.
Predicting that he will not win any more tournaments for the year.
Have I been wrong so far?
Was it kind?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. Anyway, but in that moment, I was fully 100% Felix stan. And then he was asked about it. He was interviewed by a black woman on court. I don't know her name, but I saw her around the grounds. Her fits were fantastic, by the way. And she handled the moment really well and gave Felix a chance to talk about the crowd. And he said something like, I think the crowd really messed with both of our emotions during this match, acknowledging that Billy was probably weirded out by what was happening. And then when he autographed the balls, he hit one directly to those guys. Like, eat it. I won. But the whole experience, like, I had to go and just be by myself because I was really bothered and pissed off by that experience. Because I know who you are, right? The core of MAGA is that being annoying and cruel is fun, right? That without the fun and joy of being nasty, MAGA doesn't really exist. It doesn't have an activity to form around. It was very clear to me what that was.
I didn't stay for the end of that match. So if a listener comes back and says, well, it was actually Sloane Stephens doing that interview with Felix, I'm going to be really pissed.
Excuse me? Are you for real right now? I'm going to have to do an Insta apology in cursive like Ostapenko, but it wasn't.
You said she was serving incredible fits all week. Sloane Stephens was. Are you gagged?
No, I'm like shocked and disgusted that you would ever think that.
I do not think that.
Anyway.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
So if you were one of those four dudes, fuck you.
Well, they're not listening to this
and
show.
Also, come at me.
No, please don't. Please. I don't need that in my life.
The rest of this is not as negative, I swear.
I had a great time.
I didn't know. Overall, I had a really amazing time. And like I said, I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to even do this. Even one day. The fact that I got to see Barbara Krejcikova in her opening matches at Wimbledon and the US Open, that was a gift. That was such a gift. Like, that would have been enough. And Barbie was in such better form here at the US Open. She played Mboko. On paper, it looked like this was going to be really tough. I know a lot of people had big hopes for Mboko to go far. I think she was still suffering from the wrist issue and possibly just, it really messed up her preparation for this tournament. She wasn't, the Vicky we saw
the
in
second
Montreal.
serve was terrible.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
And she seemed really unsure of it. But there's just so much pleasure for me in watching Barbie's technique. It's so fluid. It's so rhythmic. There's something so Czech about it, right? And I compared it to Tomáš Mahach's technique, who we saw beat Fonseca.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Anytime a crowd is so vocally in support of somebody who is not a fave of mine, I want that player to lose. And so as it turns out, I'm just going to be cheering against Fonseca for the rest of his career because I do not enjoy being in that kind of environment. I just don't.
Right. That was on Grandstand, and when everyone saw the schedule, that was expected to be one of the matches of the day, to be this incredible, bull ring experience, because that court already lends itself to that sort of atmosphere. And you can tell they scheduled Francis Tiafoe on Grandstand 2 matches in a row for a reason.
That's where Ayala beat Clara Towson.
Oh, I missed that match. But the Fonseca match didn't really have that atmosphere because he just wasn't able to consistently bring it.
The crowd wanted him to.
They wanted to.
The crowd was ready and willing, and he could not pull the trigger in the moments that he needed to. And Mahatma was just playing a gorgeous game that day. He just looked so good in so many ways on Grandstand that day.
There was just never really an opportunity for the crowd to erupt. Like you said, I wasn't at Townsend-Ostapenko. I was bouncing around, but I saw a good chunk of Davidovich Fokina losing to Arthur Rinderknech. As you know, I'll go out of my way to see Alejandro all the time. This was a heartbreaker because he did lose in a 5th set. I will say the usher on that court 10, I want to say.
Yes.
Now that was a diva. He was taking no prisoners. He had his phone out. He was texting the usher on the other side. You are not getting past him.
It's a smaller court. It had a very specific design to it. Mm-hmm. Unique entry points. It required skill.
And he brought it. Let me tell you, it was just so New York.
Casper Ruud had one of the strangest moments of week 1 when he complained about the weed and the smell of weed, not just at the tournament, but in New York City in general, everywhere. And he does not enjoy it.
Which, I actually really do not like the smell of weed at all. But I did clown him for this because I just thought it was funny. Mm-hmm. I will say, walking around New York, people are smoking joints everywhere. You smell it a lot. It doesn't even come close to Toronto.
No.
Toronto, like the weed smell in Toronto is pervasive. And I guess we're probably just used to it. But what I found silly was to say that, you can smell it all over the grounds. That's simply not true.
It's not true.
No.
A couple years ago, there was an issue with Court 17. I feel like Maria Sakkari said it as well a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case this year.
No.
At all. As it turned out, that was the court that did him in. I don't know if it was in the back of his head, but Casper crashed out on Court 17.
It was, that court abuts Corona Park.
Abut. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, that's a word. It means borders. Corona Park is right over the fence there. This is a public park. And years past, I guess you could smell weed. David Foster Wallace apparently even wrote about it in the 90s. This is, I guess, where I admit I'm really not a fan. Of Wallace.
Oh, okay.
I'm just not. Sorry. I know that upsets some tennis and literature people. But the weed smell was not here this year. However, Court 17 did take Casper Ruud down. Why don't we talk about the orders of play? Because this is the first year that the US Open started on Sunday with first round matches. And you could tell a difference if you were there for first rounds.
I found it a lot easier to get around the grounds the entire time I was there this year. Mm-hmm. Last year in particular, there were times when, not even there were times, I never stepped foot on Court 17 last year because it was so impossible to get in.
Right.
Never once did I watch a match on Court 17 last year. I was there all the time this year. It's one of my favorite spots to be. Any of the other courts, I was able to get into. Maximum one changeover or one game I had to wait because, they allow people in and out more frequently now. And I think that's part of it.
It is.
That's what you've really seen an improvement in the fan experience. By allowing people to move in and out more frequently, you now have people being able to get in more quickly.
And get out. And
it's really enhanced the experience, I think.
It really has.
It probably has made you annoyed.
No. In this case...
But it's tethered together.
Sure. But on the smaller courts, it's not like people are always in your way, right? There are less opportunities to move around. I think not having to wait through these games with endless deuces, and sometimes you can be waiting for 20, 25 minutes for 2 games to finish, or 3 at the beginning of a set. It's one of the things about tennis I liked least. So the ability to move around more, I think, is a good thing. I don't know if players like it, but I was surprised. I was very surprised because the grounds felt I mean, they still felt busy in the main concourse when you're walking from the gates through Armstrong to Ash. But past that and outside of that, I felt it was easier to get around.
Monday was the easiest.
Yeah.
I wasn't there Sundays. A lot of people said Sunday was very busy, but Monday did not feel busy at all.
No.
It felt almost half as busy as last
That was very
last
weird.
year.
Yeah. So you had asked me to do a little number crunching and compare the number of matches that happened on each day because of the way that the first round was stretched out. This year, the first round was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. In traditional slam draws, like last year, it was just Monday, Tuesday. So in 2024, started on Monday, August 26th, there are matches on 16 different courts. They're all singles matches, and there were 64 matches in total. The next day was exactly the same thing. 16 courts are in use, and there are 64 matches on the schedule. This year, because the round one was split, we've got day one having 40 matches to watch, day two has 48, and day three has 40. So there's a big difference between 64 and 40, right? You've just got to get through 128 matches in any way you can.
And what that felt like for a fan, for me, was I did not get my usual, I'm just going to walk around the grounds at 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and just see what's going on. Mm-hmm. And you can still get some valuable experiences. There was no play a lot of the time.
At certain times, it felt like...
Past 9 o'clock.
Well, yeah, because with the day ticket, traditionally at a slam, you can get a full day. So you can't get on the night session on Ash, but...
Last year, you could go to court 10, there'd be a match still going on. Court 11, a match would still be going on. Some of the really smaller courts, I don't know what they're called at this point. Like what, court 15, 14? Those where you walk in between them, there are much lesser known players playing there.
Right.
That's where I saw Clairvian Gunaway and Lerner Tien play mixed doubles last year.
Oh, yeah.
It's where I saw Gabriel Diallo and Jama Munar play late at night last year. That wasn't happening this year because of the dilution of the ticket. You're paying more money this year and you're getting less product. It's a clear-cut scenario of fans being ripped off.
Yeah, and there was no mixed doubles. Right, last year on the Wednesday, mixed doubles is starting. You can see some matches. That's already happened in quote-unquote week one, which I like to call week -1.
One of the highlights of my time at the US Open is tracking down Xie Sue. Didn't see her once this year.
No. And so this year, rather than having matches on 16 courts, which is almost all of them, you only had matches on Monday on 13 different courts, and on Sunday and Tuesday, only 11 different courts. And so when play is over on those courts, it's done. And I found that unfortunately, the Ash Day sessions were mostly a wash those 3 days. They were top seeds who were getting through their matches very easily, aside from Maddie Keys, unfortunately, which was, a 3-hour loss?
89 unforced errors.
Yeah. But for the most part, the day sessions ended early, so you have people out. They're looking for other matches, and it's difficult to fight through the crowds. And so the side effects of this stretched out schedule is that there's the same number of people on the grounds or more, because the tournament is always growing, but there are just fewer things to do, right? The orders of play are diluted, as you said, and there's a much lower likelihood that you get to see your fave or a top player on any given day, just because it's stretched.
And if I'm being honest, if I did not pay for an extra ticket and get to see Venus on Monday night, I would have had a different and more negative opinion of my experience that day. Mm-hmm. Court 4 not in use for singles anymore. That's a net effect of this change. Mm-hmm. You're looking like, where's Court 4 again?
4? I can't remember. Oh, I remember. The one that's like very exposed.
Where you saw Taylor Fritz
next to
practicing.
Ash? Oh, back there. Oh, those are just all practice courts now, basically.
5 and 6 have matches on them.
No, the ones behind.
No, those are always practice courts.
Okay.
It's Court 4, Court 5, Court 6, all three of them together.
Where did I see Taylor Fritz?
On Court 4. It wasn't a match court anymore. People were just practicing on it.
Oh, okay. He was looking at me. I don't know why. It was very unnerving.
But in years past, it's where matches happen. The very first match I ever saw at the US Open was Yelena Ostapenko on Court 4, 4 years ago. So that made me a little bit sad that court
Yeah.
is no longer part of the roster.
I know that court assignments, it's a very passé topic. It's been done a million times. There were some strange decisions, I felt. The decision to put Guillermo Fils on court 5 was perplexing. Because I think he's always going to bring in a huge crowd. And that's just a small court with some stands behind each baseline. And to put Taylor and Ostapenko on court 11, I mean, I guess it contributes to the raucous kind of local experience, but it felt like it was a court that was too small for the appeal. Of course, you can't please everybody with the court assignments, so I'm not going too hard, but it was surprising.
We're running 80 minutes of recorded audio already, and we still have the draws to get to where we are with everybody left in the tournament. And then also, what was gonna be the title of this episode, I'd come up with indoctrination. Mm-hmm. Because right as we got to New York, news broke that Sunday of Serena Williams flying to Newport to induct Maria Sharapova into the Hall of Fame. Crazy stuff.
What? Because this is so up our alley. This is literally from the first episode of The Body Serve.
The genesis of TBS. Where we are is that we all just need to get over it. Because these two women
especially.
have. And it's not just what Maria did to Serena. Serena got her licks in over the years. Mm-hmm. In the pandemic, when she went on Zena and Chanda's talk show and said some stuff.
About how her rival was on drugs?
This is not more than 5 short years ago. And here they are. The ice melted in a Met Gala restroom.
Right.
And it's continued to thaw. It's now warm and cuddly and lovey-dovey.
Apparently Maria requested that Serena induct her. She reached out to her. They text. I mean, what the hell?
And now that Serena is on her weight loss drug that she's an investor in, that her husband is, and looking like $1 million, quite frankly. She's clearly pleased with how she looks based on her social media output. Absolutely, she's going to show up and show out and give it to her one more time. Even if it's a roast type style
That's
of
so
speech.
good. Like,
you know,
I just don't know. Why would you want the literal GOAT who beat you 18 times in a row to do your induction? Maria, from when she was a child, is a Serena stan. And that's what it boils down to.
Serena could have just been sat there in the audience. No, it had to be a big old entrance, right?
Well, I mean, it is Serena.
And so Serena comes out of a door. It's like Luther Vandross describing Mariah as she's coming onto the stage to sing Endless Love with him. And there, where is she? She might appear like a cloud, like a breeze.
I love it. That's your reference.
And so Serena sachets out, looking incredible, and slays this speech. She's taking digs, playful jabs. It's like Natalie Cole accepting the Grammy and pointing at Whitney.
Yes. They're pointing at each other. One of the best memes ever. Yeah, no, they acted like there was a lot of respect between them, because think of the things that they experienced together that nobody in the world will ever experience together, right? You and your rivals will know each other in a way that the rest of us won't.
And so we're out here looking stupid, hanging on to gripes for 20 years, expecting them to still be relevant. That those gripes are still warranted. They've moved on. They don't care.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, if Serena hadn't turned out to be the GOAT and had lost a lot more to Maria, I don't think we'd see this magnanimous side of her.
No, I don't think so either.
The other thing is that Serena did not need to lose all this weight to look like $1 million, right? Like,
correct.
She looked great before. She looks great now. This was clearly something that was important to her personally.
My point is that you can tell that she is feeling herself right
she
now.
Definitely is. There's been, all this sort of social media criticism about Serena using this drug and then also promoting it, because I assumed that the family was investing in it. Like, as soon as I heard her on this press tour, right? Because it was rolled out. It wasn't just like, oh, I forgot to mention I'm doing this. No, it was very clearly the purpose of some of these press
More than anything
events.
else, Serena's a capitalist at this point.
She sure is.
So better or worse.
That's the part I don't like.
Yeah.
The fact that she's on a weight loss drug, I really don't care. And I feel like there is a lot of self-righteousness about she's one of the greatest athletes in the world, and she's lying, Your Honor. She didn't even try to lose the weight. And it's like, first of all, she is a retired athlete. She was one of the greatest athletes in the world. But if you follow her closely, you know that she struggled to lose the weight after coming back from having a child.
She had to sit through all of you all talking about her body yet again, saying she's overweight, she's out of shape, she needs to get back in the gym. Where do you think she was?
Right.
Out here at Dairy Queen?
She's a professional tennis player. She was making slam finals.
Leaving the court to go and down blizzards. No. Right. She had a baby, and she couldn't lose the weight, and she was also older. It happens.
And who are you to say that she could have lost the weight if she really just tried? Because now we're like, oh my God, like the anti-fat phobia is verging into fat phobia. It's like we can't even keep track of what we're supposed to be mad about.
Throughout her entire career, she was scrutinized because she was a black woman and her body looked different.
Right.
And aging as a black woman is different.
Mm-hmm. You know how many times, oh my God, I will fight this fight forever. But people are like, oh, Serena was so much bigger than her opponents. Lindsay Davenport was 6'2" and certainly weighed more than Serena. No disrespect to Lindsay. Venus herself is much taller than Serena.
Yeah.
Maria is 6'2". Serena is 5'9". I'm taller than Serena. Mm-hmm. Right. Anyway, I just wanted to address this. This was something that happened at the U.S. Open, and you said I was horrible for thinking this. I was at Francis's match against Nishioka at the very end, and up at the top of like the bull ring of the grandstand, it was kind of like 4 or 5 people deep, but I could kind of see through people to see him, and I could hear a child's voice, excuse me. I'm like, okay, I always let kids through because I'm generous like that.
You're really putting this out there.
You let kids through. And so then the child, the alleged child,
is no longer a child.
Is what I'm saying.
Is a mouse.
The child comes through and he's like my height. And I'm like a medium height. I'm 5'10". I would
shoe size. Waist size.
It's none of y'all's business. I'm 5'10", but if you are a child pushing through people and you're blocking me, you no longer have that right. I don't really care how old you are.
You said this was like a 12-year-old.
At that point, I don't know. He could have been, who knows? He could have been 15. Puberty could have come late.
Oh my God.
Listen, if you're taller than most of the people you're pushing ahead of, you no longer have the right. I'm so sorry. You take your giant tennis ball and get out of here.
That poor child.
Exactly.
We're not going to see eye to eye on this. We're just not.
Oh yeah, because you're so famous for loving kids.
Oh no, That's not it. That's definitely not it. The draws. Where are we? Quickly. We're about to have the round of 16 rosters set on both the men's and women's draws. There's only a couple matches still outstanding at the moment. The bottom half of the men's draw is full. Djokovic is still there. He's going to play Struff. Struff took out Tiafoe in straight sets. Was not close at all.
And Holger Rune.
Djokovic is 7-0 career head-to-head against Struff. And he's only won 1 set against Novak in that time. So, Tomas Machac, 21 seed. Fritz has a 2-0 head-to-head lead over Machac. Tomas is playing the best ball of his career. So, I don't think we should pay too much attention to that. Adrian Mannarino, he is resurgent. He's always there to just do some mess against somebody and mess up just ruin their day.
Yeah. No sponsor, no friends, the lowest racket tension in professional tennis, but took out 2 seeds here already.
Ben Shelton had to retire against Mannarino after losing the 4th set. Tied 2 sets all. After losing that 4th set, Ben's dad basically told him to pull the cord.
Yeah.
He had a shoulder injury. Ben left the court in tears. Mannarino also took out Griekspoor in the first round in straight sets. Mannarino is going to play Lehechka in the round of 16. They've never played each other before. And Carlos is going to play Rinderknecht. He has a 3-0 head-to-head record against him. This is a section where Medvedev would have been by seed as a 13 seed, but he lost to Bonzi after pulling all those stunts in the first round. Bonzi then came back from 2 sets down against Giron, and then Rinderknecht beat Bonzi in the 3rd round. On the top half, Jannik Sinner had a bit of a scare this afternoon.
Against Dennis, of all people. Dennis was really giving him trouble. And he almost crashed out in the first set when he was called for a foot fault, but he really got himself together.
In the end, Sinner prevailed 5-7, 6-4, 6-3, 6-3. He's going to play the winner of Bublik and Tommy Paul, which is yet to come tonight.
If it is Bublik, Bublik has a recent win over Sinner in Halle this year.
Musetti is back in some kind of form. He had gone away for a spell there. He's going to play Jaume Munar, who is into the fourth round of a slam for the first time in his career. Munar actually has a 2-1 head-to-head lead over Musetti. Rublev came back against Coleman Wong today. He lost the first set but ended up winning in 5. He's going to play the winner of that guy and Felix Auger-Aliassime.
Ruby will prefer Felix to come through because he owns a 7-1 record against him.
Oof.
And against that guy, it's only 3-7.
As it is right now, that guy and Felix split the first 2 sets. Felix is up a break, serving 2-1 with an add-in to go 3-1 up in the third set. Oh, it's on the TV behind us.
And finally, we have the Swiss Reedy versus Alex de Minaur, who benefited from, a retirement by Altmaier. There are a lot of retirements today over the past few days.
It's been really run-of-the-mill for de Minaur so far. Straight sets over O'Connell in the first round, straight sets over Mochizuki in the second round, and then getting the retirement from Altmaier today.
All right, women's side. Number 1, Aryna Sabalenka. We actually didn't see at all because of the way she was scheduled. And she will face... I don't know how this happened.
Who is it?
You mentioned just an offhanded comment that, well, after all that, who knows? She could play Buksha in the quarterfinals or the round of 16.
Because you were trying to make this argument that her path was so hard. And I was like, well, what if it's not Towson in the fourth round? What if it's Buksha?
Right.
And here she is.
It wasn't Mertens, her former doubles partner. It wasn't Towson. She dealt with Layla, and now it's Buksha.
They've never played before. Rybakina still on course to meet Sabalenka in the quarterfinals. For now, she's going to be playing Vondroshova, who is feeling herself.
Yep.
She took out Paolini in straight sets. She also beat McCartney Kessler in straight sets. And in the first round, she beat Selek Mateva. Straight sets all around for Marketa so far as she heads into the fourth round against Rybakina.
Elena dispatched Emma Raducanu fairly easily. Like, she's in really good form here. Most of what I'm hearing is constant complaining over Vukov's incessant noise. Just nonstop. He's making up for the time he was banned from the tour.
Jessie Pegula, I was very low on her chances heading into this tournament based on the form that she was showing. She's into the round of 16, taking out Azarenka in the third round, Blinkova in the second round, and Maya Sharif in the first round. Hasn't dropped a set yet. She's going to play Ann Lee. They're tied 1-1 in their head-to-head. And then the final spot on this top half in the round of 16 is Barbora Krejcikova against Taylor Townsend. Blockbuster.
For, this household, Barbara owns a 1-0 head-to-head in singles. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find head-to-heads in doubles, but I imagine that they have met a bunch of times, given their stature in the doubles game.
You mentioned earlier Taylor following up that win against Ostapenko with another straight sets win over Mira Andreeva. That was so impressive.
It was. And it was also a bit depressing that Mira seemed to just kind of give up and didn't really look for plan B and C.
Well,
Taylor played great, but it was... Mira is very young, so there's tons of time, but...
Right, but Taylor was enacting plans A, B, C, and D in that match.
Right,
she gave her so many different looks. It was a complete performance by Taylor. She suffers every now and then still from some bad decision-making, where she finds herself in awkward positions.
Bad approaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is as good as we've ever seen Taylor play in singles. Any of these matches here in this first half of the draw that you want to highlight or stuff that you saw? We talked about Ayala taking out Towson. I watched Elsa Giacomo against Marie Boskova. It was the first time I'd seen Giacomo, and she was really impressive. She's got a lot of game. Definitely somebody to watch. Andreeva on Louis Armstrong took out the semifinalist last week, Alicia Parks. She who went and blew up all the goodwill that she may have had from the gays. went and ate a bagel and a breadstick at the Andreeva bakery in the first round. And also Belinda Bencic. She was kicked out in the second round by Ann Lee.
Yeah, yep. Bottom half, Kostyuk versus Muchova. Kostyuk is in the spot that I thought Madison Keys would be, but Maddie lost in the first round. They have never played before. Muchova, I mean, she's got a good chance to repeat her semifinal showing of the past 2 years. The next one is honestly the match that I did not want to see happen, and I still don't. It's Osaka Goff. Coco has, she just started working with the biomechanics guy, Gavin McMillan, who they show every time she gets a double fault. Really not fair to Mr. McMillan, is it?
He hasn't had a whole lot of time.
No. So she is trying to fix her game in the middle of a massive tournament in her home country. She's looked kind of miserable. A little better against Frech today, but it is a rough watch, and I'm just hoping that
something will click.
I don't know, mentally something will click. I don't want to see anybody crying on court.
That second round match against Donna Vekic was one of the worst matches you could ever watch in your entire lifetime.
It was not a fun experience.
It was a miserable watch. And Coco ended up winning it in straight sets. But it was not good for anybody involved.
My girl Dasha Kazatkina played Osaka today, and toward the beginning it looked as if, it would have been a miracle if she won a game. Got bageled in the first set, hit 8 double faults, 26% first serves in. That is dismal.
This is where Naomi Osaka needs to be. With the Montreal result, she finally got her ranking high enough to be seeded again at these tournaments. She won her 3 matches. She's where she's supposed to be.
You kind of cut off the Dasha match.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Dasha won the second set, and it looked to be a little dicey for a bit for Naomi early in the third, but she took control in a way that felt very mature, felt like old Naomi. And she seemed happy in the post-match. I don't know what the hell the boo-boo is. I will admit. Is it like a Beanie Baby? It's like a fad collector's thing these days.
I guess.
They're cute. The Billie Jean bling, that's cute. And now she's got one that actually looks like Billie Jean, so she had to come up with a different name for it.
Billy Blue?
La Billy Boo. La Billy Boo. And Arthur Flash, right?
Yes. This half of the draw is lit.
It is.
The women's draw is serving.
Yeah. To finish it, Naomi has a 2-3 record against Coco. They played here in 2019 in the third round, where Naomi destroyed Coco and then invited her to the speech, which by the locals is routinely passed around as this moment of incredible generosity by a lot of us in tennis. It's just something we'd rather forget.
It was an overstep.
And Coco wasn't ready for it.
No. Amanda Anisimova is following up her Wimbledon finals run with, so far, a run to the round of 16. She's blasting the ball. She's worked a lot on her serve. I saw that was one of the things that she wants to work on most after Wimbledon. And she's here. She's going to play the winner of Haddad Maya and Maria Sakkari. I would love to see Maria come through into the fourth round. She suffered a lot. But also, as I say that, maybe she should stay where she is.
Georgetown? District of Columbia? She's suffering in Georgetown.
Alexandrova beat Sigamond today.
Thank God.
And she's going to play Iga Swiatek, who scammed her way out of a match against Anna Kalinskaya. We sat down to record tonight with Iga looking hapless, down 1-5 in the first set. I said she would go on to win.
7-6, and then win the next set.
Yeah.
Just a simple straight sets affair.
So, not playing her best ball tonight, but that's crazy.
Yeah. She is 4-2 against Alexandrova.
Anisimova beat Jacqueline Christian today. Notable for the Romanian is that she beat Danielle Collins in the first round. That was not a good scene. 6-2, 6-love. Danielle clearly hampered. She's going to cut her season short. We don't know if we'll see her again. Right. She didn't say she's retiring, but last year she said she was retiring, and then based on certain personal factors, she then came back to tour this year. I don't know if that will be the case again for next year, but it's possible we may have seen the last of Danielle Collins.
Yep, that might be the last time we saw her in person, and it may not.
And lastly, shout out to Petra Kvitova and Caroline Garcia. They both lost their opening matches, and with that, they call time on their careers. And if the end of this episode felt a bit rushed, we were speeding toward the finish line because
it's too long.
We now have to edit this, and we have to eat as well tonight.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, there was a lot to cover.
We gotta work.
Before the tournament even started for us, the indoctrination stuff happened. So, we hope you enjoyed this episode. There was a lot in it. We hope we delivered the goods. We want to thank you for allowing us to travel again to the US Open. I had a wonderful time. I always have a great time in New York City, let alone just being at the tennis.
At the risk of sounding basic, the Honey Deuce, it really is that girl. It goes off.
Oh, and you finally had the frozen one this year.
Oh my, it does exist. It really does exist. Last time it was like a McDonald's ice cream machine. Oh, it's broken today.
Or the Wendy's
I didn't
Frosty.
think it was even a real thing.
Now, which did you prefer?
At the end of the day, I preferred the regular.
Oh, well, at the end of the day, your
wrong
taste levels are shining through.
I did want to try one of those mules or one of the other drinks, but you don't get a souvenir cup, and we got to give those cups out as gifts. We need to amass the cups. We
get requests now when we come back to town.
Orders.
Where's my cup?
Or my set.
The US Open could probably do well to have those on back order for people to be able to purchase them online. I'm sure people would buy it. You see all these people doing stunts with them on the grounds and discarding them, but there is a market for that stuff.
Would they pay for the overpriced cocktail if they were available online, say after the tournament?
Fair.
I don't think so.
I do think that they could do with a refresh on the design.
Yeah. It has been the same design. It's cute. It's standard, but we could use a little more flair.
One last thing. I'm leaving the grandstand, which is where the frozen honey deuces are. I went there to get one for myself, and I messaged you because I'm nice like that. I said, do you want one? And you're like, yes. Even though you had just told me that you prefer the liquid ones, and those were right where you were.
Sure, but you were offering. Why would I say
so
you were in line?
I'm hoofing it through the grounds, double fisting frozen honey deuces, and this woman comes toward me and she goes, oh, where'd you get that? It's like, oh, they're by the grandstand. Okay. And she just goes, you're welcome. I wanted to turn right back around and throw $46 all over her.
Yeah. No education.
None
as
whatsoever.
Ostapenko
No
would
education.
Say. Where are the manners? Where is the home training?
Where is the decorum? My name is Jonathan. You can find me on Blue Sky at Tennis John.
I'm James at ElliotJMR.
2 L's, 2 T's. Everything BodyServe related can be found at linktree.com/thebodyserve. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for listening.
Till next time.
Thank you very much.